BSN, or Bevy Scene Notation, is the flagship feature of the Bevy game engine in 0.19. BSN shows up in Bevy 0.19 as the BSN macro, which can be used to define hierarchies of components. This notably includes syntax for observers, implicitly loading asset paths, labeling and using entity names, and more. Most notably, while the BSN macro exists in 0.19, the BSN asset file does not, so you will not be able to load BSN files in 0.19. There is a lot of machinery going on here in the macro, so for a full examination, check out the docs either in the Bevy Scene module or in the BSN macro itself, and there's also a rundown in 0.19's release notes. Meanwhile, Feathers, which is Bevy's name for its dev tool or editor UI widgets, is a major consumer of BSN in 0.19, making use of some of the new scene component functionality shown here, defining a checkbox with an associated observer. Not all of the examples have been converted to use BSN just yet in the GitHub repo, so consider 0.19 an opportunity to become familiar with BSN, but don't consider it a requirement to port everything in your application to BSN. There are also more Feathers widgets, a new text input, variable font support, and more. However, one of the features I think you'll like the most is the new settings plugin. Include the new plugin, use the derive macro on your structs, and the settings get loaded into resources when the application boots up. The plugin comes with a new command for saving the settings as well. Speaking of saving, the asset saver trait, which has existed in Bevy for quite a while now, gains an implementation to save assets at runtime instead of just inside of asset processing. Build a new saved asset and call save using saver even if subassets are involved. Observers also get run conditions in 0.19, which can control whether an observer runs similar to the way they work on systems. This is especially useful when you don't control the sending side of events like Bevy's picking events, as otherwise you can control whether or not to actually send the event, not just if the observer runs. One of the things that I'm really excited about for 0.19 is that Bevy's schedule architecture has evolved since the original render graph implementation. And in 0.19, instead of implementing special traits like node to schedule render world systems and interact with the GPU, you can now use the regular add systems APIs that you're used to, adding systems to schedules like Core 3D. Two crates originally created and maintained by Foresight Spatial Labs have been upstreamed. One is an infinite grid, and the other is an interactive transform gizmo for moving, rotating, and scaling entities. There are, as always, a boatload of more pretty pictures, including the new rectangular area lights, physically based screen space reflections, contact shadows, and more post-processing effects that are built in, like vignette and lens distortions. And finally, as always, there are performance improvements hiding in every Bevy release. One of the newest benchmark scenes is Bevy City, which is a scene that renders 55,000 entities. That's not the number of total entities in the scene, that is just the number of rendered entities. Metal also got partial bindless support, bringing it in line with many other platforms, and a new diagnostics overlay was introduced. That's it this time for 0.19. Don't forget about the migration guide if you're updating your application, and I will see you in the next one.